Watch me get that cash, bitch, don't worry about my past, bitch, cause every move I make it better than the last, bitch, ooh. Yeah.
What is up, y'all? It's your girl Naj. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing something new on my channel, something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've been just brainstorming, trying to figure out how I wanted to format it, but now I finally think I've came up with an idea that I would love to incorporate to my channel. So I'm not gonna do too much talking, we're just gonna get right into it. Basically today I will be starting my Sunday smoke sesh series. Oh my gosh, I feel like that was so many S's. And when I was writing in my notes, I was like, this is so many S's. Like, I hope it's basically, I'm gonna say it again so I can. My Sunday smoke sesh series. And basically, long story short, the smoke sesh is gonna be me sitting here doing a sit down video, just talking to y'all about different topics that I've either been asked about, topics that I see or that I might find on social media, depending on what everybody's talking about. The great debates, if you want to say, that go on Twitter, or just anything that is important to me, basically, or anything that I feel like I just have a little bit of experience on that I would like to just talk to y'all about. So basically it's going to be nothing more than just a conversation with y'all. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with it, if I have any experience with it. Most of the topics, unless y'all, well, we're gonna get into that. Most of the topics I've experienced, the ones that I myself will be bringing to the channel. But as for the other topics for future videos, y'all are more than welcome to leave any suggestions in the comment section. Just anything that y'all see that y'all may be interested in, or that y'all would just like to hear me talk about, just hit me up, let me know what y'all want to know. So basically how it's gonna go is I'm just gonna pick a topic. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do the topics and whatnot, but I'll pick a topic and then we just gonna spark up and chop it up. So feel free to spark your blunt if you got it already ready or whatnot. I already had my smoke before today's video, so I'm just gonna jump right in. But like I said, if you got your own, then you know, roll it up, make it happen, make it do what it do then. So today, my first topic that I chose, somebody suggested that I should do this first, but after they suggested it, I was like, I feel like that's a good first topic. So I probably would have picked something else. Just something that we don't got time for today, because I'm gonna try to keep these short and sweet, because y'all know I will go on and on and on and on and on, and I'm not trying to do that today because I got stuff to do, y'all got stuff to do, and like I said, I want this to just be a conversation. It don't have to be too long. Basically, we're already like 3 minutes in, so yeah, let's get to chatting. But today the topic is going to be self-love and owning your singleness, or just enjoying your Anyways, y'all, today's topic is going to be self-worth / owning your singleness, or just enjoying your season of singlehood, basically. So for me, I personally feel like, and one thing I wanted to say before, like just as a disclaimer, I'll probably try to say this in every video if I remember, any of the opinions on this channel period, but specifically on this series, are my opinions. You know, they're just based on my experiences, honestly. Like, this is not me telling anybody to do anything. This is strictly my experiences, my perspective on whatever topic we're discussing, and you know, either you relate or you don't, but I'm always open to hearing difference in opinions, or just anything, any feedback I'm open to hearing in the comment section. But just understand, this is just my experience with the situation, so I don't want anybody to feel like I'm ever preaching to them, basically. Like, I'm just talking because I really don't know nothing. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I'll probably say that every video, just because I want everybody to feel free to just be able to share their experiences, because like I said, I want this to be a conversation. So if you got a similar experience that you want to share in the comment section, let me know. Or like, if you agree but disagree with something and you want to share your perspective, also let me know. I'm always open to having conversations because that's basically what this segment of my channel is all about. But like I was saying, today's topic is going to be self-worth and owning your singlehood, or just basically enjoying your season of singleness. So for me, I personally think that being single is one of the most fun times of your life, and honestly, like, even me being able to say that right now, like, just being able to say, like, oh my gosh, being single is fun, I feel like some years ago I probably did not think like, but honestly I feel like after, you know, once you get into relationships, because I honestly have only had, I would say, because some people don't count high school, but if we count high school, I've only been in 2 serious relationships. But once you get into a relationship, I feel like anybody will tell you, because people used to tell me all the time before I got into my first relationships, that relationships is hard, girl. Relationships is hard work. Like, it's not just all rainbows and sunshines. Like, it's not just all peaches and cream, basically. And I was just looking at them like, you know, that's not gonna be me, that's not gonna be me. I feel like that's what everybody thinks whenever they used to hear stuff like that. Once you really get into a relationship, I feel like you realize that they kind of are a little hard work. Like, I wouldn't even say hard work because at the time it don't be feeling like hard work, but I feel like a better frame of words would be high maintenance. You can't just go on living your life like you was living your life when you're in a relationship. Like, you have to learn how to include them in your decision making, like including them in your future. I feel like your whole life plan starts kind of changing when you get in a relationship, because usually y'all are on 2 different paths. So if they're trying to move to Alaska and you just want to stay in Timbuktu, I feel like most of the time at some point in the relationship, either y'all come to a compromise or one person is going to, like, it shouldn't be like this, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 somebody's gonna, oh well, I'll just, because, you know, he wanted to move to Alaska anyway, and they have some good jobs in Alaska, so let me go to Alaska. But I feel like it's just different things that you have to do when you're in a relationship that you don't really, it's things that you have the luxury of doing when you're single that you don't necessarily have the luxury of doing when you're in a relationship. And depending on your partner, whoever you're with, just certain things that you were doing when you were single that you might have to, you know, edit and, you know, rearrange once you with somebody. If you were somebody that loved to go out, you know, you just love to be outside with the girls, and you start dating, well, I don't even want to put a gender on it, like, you might love to be outside with your, you know, shit, it don't even matter, you just love to be outside, and then you get with somebody who's probably more introverted or just controlling. But you get with somebody and they don't like that you go out all the time. Long story short, depending on what type of person you are, or just the way what you constitute as respect in your relationship, you might decide to change the fact that you like to go out all the time just to keep the peace in a relationship. Y'all see where I'm going with it? Like, it's just be a lot of things that you actually have to think about that you would not have to think about if you were single. So that's just the first thing I wanted to say as far as what I've learned in my singleness. But like I said, a few years ago I probably would not have said that I like being single. Like, I wanted a boyfriend so bad. But now it's just like, I'll pass. I'm good, love, enjoy. Okay, y'all have to put like my bullet points in the thing, because like I said, y'all know I ramble and I'm trying to keep this real short and sweet, just real cute. I'm really trying to fill it out, but so far I'm liking the vibe. I feel like I don't even have to force it, because I'm talking about I'm just talking, and y'all don't even know, like, I've been missing this feeling of being on camera. And when I tried to come back last time, I don't know how to explain it, it just still didn't feel all the way right, like spiritually. But now basically I'm just feeling back in my element. So but anyways, so another thing that I wanted to mention is, for me personally, like the first thing that I did when I got out of my last relationship was go to therapy. And honestly, like, you know, like I said, to each his own. Everybody's gonna have their opinions about therapy and stuff, but I had never been to therapy before. But in addition to my relationship ending, there were also other things going on at the time. I had just graduated from college. I had just moved back home to Austin, and you know, just not being in the proximity of the people that you were in the proximity with for 3 years, and you know, my experience, it's definitely a transition. That was like a, you know, that was a big thing for me to deal with. So it was just a lot of stuff going on, and then just figuring out what you want to do with your life once you realize that what you went to college for is kind of what you want to do, but not really what you want to do at the same time. So for me, the first thing I did, like I said, was go to therapy. And honestly, therapy worked wonders for me because I like a non-biased opinion, and I feel like sometimes our friends, it's not that they don't give good advice, but in my experience, sometimes people will tell you what they think you want to hear. Like, I have certain friends that I can go to that I know will give me the honest to God, raw truth, no filter, and that's what I like. But with a therapist, it's like that, but times 10, because they're just completely not biased. Like, they don't know you from a can of paint, and they don't know the people you talking about from a can of paint either. So they can literally tell you, you know, if you were being wrong in the situation, or just not even how you're wrong, because it's never like, oh, you did this and they did that. It's more of a, what did you gather from this situation and what did you learn from it? And I feel like that this time, like my last relationship and ending that and then being single versus my first relationship when I was in high school and being single, I feel like I handled those breakups 2 different ways. And maybe it's because I had already been through a breakup that was like, I had already had get a tongue twisted today, y'all. I had already been through a relationship where I feel like the ending kind of, like, I felt, you know, everybody got that heartbreak where it's like you feel like you're finna die, like, for like, you don't want to go nowhere, you just want to be in the house, like, you just want to, like, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all because this is my channel. I've said this from the beginning, I always keep it real with y'all. So if you sitting there like, oh, I ain't never, baby, you just ain't been there yet. But you know, that first heartbreak where it really just does something to your spirit. I had already had that in high school, so I was just so determined to not let a relationship break me as a person again. So that's why I took the steps that I mentioned, as like going to therapy as soon as I got out of that relationship. But through taking therapy and just going through those sessions, I feel like I learned that, and people are gonna have their own opinions on this, but this is my opinion on this. I think that you absolutely have to know and love yourself before you can have a successful relationship. And the reason I say this is because in the past, like I said, when I had the first heartbreak that really just did something to me, I feel like it really did something to me because I was codependent on that relationship. And you know, I could just say it because it is what it is. Like, you go through experiences to learn what not to do, basically. And looking back, you know, once you really look back and examine relationships, because I believe that it takes 2 to tango in anything. So even though I could personally feel like I haven't ever experienced like a healthy love, I also can admit that I played a role in that, whether it just be as simple as complacency or just staying stuck when I knew that it was overstepping my boundaries or just not serving me anymore, basically. But I feel like not knowing myself and not knowing those things about myself and basically where I could possibly go wrong in relationships, is the reason why it was like that. But after experiencing that and then being in another relationship, I feel like I was more aware of my actions and just patterns that I had seen in other relationships that, you know, I didn't want to deal with no more. So, or I didn't want to deal with myself. So I feel like without knowing that, you don't know. No, you don't know nothing until you know. I definitely think that you just have to know yourself before you can want somebody else to just completely understand you. People be saying like, oh, I'm misunderstood, but they don't even take the time to understand themselves. So you can't be mad that somebody doesn't understand something you haven't even took the time to understand, if that makes sense. So for me, I just feel like it's so important to make sure that you're in love with yourself, basically, or damn near, because also just falling in love with yourself and healing and all that jazz, I feel like is a continuous cycle through life that you're gonna have to continuously keep up with it, you know, make sure you're maintaining that. But I definitely think that you have to at least have a basis or have identified your triggers or flaws in relationships or things that you could just work on before you can have a successful relationship. Because I feel like if you don't, it's kind of like you're just repeating the same patterns. That's why even before I was like super self-aware, I never was the type to just like jump into a relationship, even before, but like never to just jump into a relationship after I just got out of something, definitely, because I feel like your mind is just too jaded. Like you haven't even really took the time to process what the hell just happened. But like I said, to each his own, because some people feel like that's like them restricting themselves or like holding themselves back from dating, which I can also understand. That's why I always say whatever floats your boat. But for me, I always need that time, like after a relationship, just to process what happened and how can I not let this happen again, basically. So like I was saying earlier, I think that there's so much to be done when you're single that I think we often don't really take advantage of, because, you know, the first period of singleness, you're just kind of like, oh my god, like you just still in shock, like not wanting to be single, basically still getting used to the single life, and you know, everybody go through that part. But then it's like once you get into the realization phase and you're not sulking about it anymore, so you can actually start looking back and being like, you know what, whether you start dating and then you're catching red flags earlier on and being like, you know what, that's something I noticed. Like I feel like these are all the things that you're able to do when you're single. Because the one thing I also, and this is just like a whole nother thing, this is probably a whole nother topic, but I also think that's why it's important to not just restrict ourselves to one person when we're dating. I think that our generation, we turn dating into just like talking like, oh, I like him and he like me, so I'm gonna sit beside him. But I feel like in the past, or maybe not in the past, maybe it's just how they portray the past in TV shows, I don't know, but I think that the older folks, they be dating around. Like these aunties and stuff, they be having 5 boyfriends. Like they going on dates, they filling everybody out, they seeing what's going on. And I also feel like that's a great way to learn. Like you ain't gotta be bored when you single. You don't gotta be sitting at home sad. Like the first, like I said, that first phase, I understand everybody gotta do what they gotta do. But once you start feeling yourself again and feel like, okay, like I think I'm getting my groove back, like I feel like shooting my shot a little, like then I feel like it's okay to just go date different people and really just see like, oh yeah, I like this about him, but I don't like that he got 2 phones, because why do you have 2? Or oh, I like this, but I don't like that he don't have no direction for where his life is going. Or I don't like to use genders on this channel, so it could be a he or she, but just catching things early on. I feel like when you're single, you literally have the luxury to do that because you're not tied down to anybody, and you really could just examine what you want and don't want versus just getting in something just to be in something. So I feel like honestly it's better to be single than to be in a relationship just for the sake of being in a relationship, and 9 times out of 10 it never really works out anyway. So, and that brings me to my next topic. Once you know better, you naturally gonna do better. So I feel like through being single, you're able to really just not only take a look at other people but also take a look at yourself, and you know when, you know, basically laying everything out, like these are my boundaries, these are what I will and will not accept from a relationship or from a friendship, because they don't even have to be, but we talking about relationships. But as far as boundaries, it doesn't have to be, you know, just for relationships, but that's a whole nother topic too. But once you know where you went wrong, you'll know what not to do again. So that brings me to the self-worth topic. Once you learn your worth, if you've been in something where it had you questioning your worth, whether that was you getting cheated on or somebody just not wanting to be with you, or it could be a number of things why relationships go south. But once you've been in the position to where you're questioning yourself, I feel like everybody is on a quest to like never feel like that again. Because the one thing that people always say, and it's so cliche but it's the truth, is whatever happens, if it was something that was like done to you in a relationship, it doesn't always have to do with you. Like it doesn't have to defeat you to the point to where you're questioning yourself completely, you're questioning your character. Like it doesn't have to be all of that. But once you know, like, okay, well, like me, because like I said, I can keep it real on this channel. Once you've been with somebody that cheated on you a lot, and you questioning like, am I missing something? Like, is this something not? Because that was me, child. Them first relationships. But once you done been there, I feel like you know that you don't ever want to feel like that again. You know, you don't ever want to have to question yourself like that again. So then it will be really hard for you to ever let somebody else make you feel like that. Like once you start seeing red flags, you're gonna immediately be like, oh, you know what, I'ma just let you have it, because I done already been at this place before, so I don't know if I wanna. You can only learn lessons about self-worth after experiencing things. That's why, as they say with relationships, like you're never really prepared for a relationship. You kind of just have to jump into it and just pray for the best, which sounds crazy, but I feel like you really just have to be ready. And I feel like it's a matter of both people being ready and deciding to do it. But once you know your worth, I feel like it just makes everything 10 times better, because it's easier for you to not get so swept up in the love and just the, you know, just the rose-colored glasses of the situation. Because it's so difficult when you're in love to not have on your rose-colored glasses, but sometimes you gotta take them off, because if you never take them off, I feel like the cycle just repeats. But I feel like once you know your worth, it's just a feeling that's like, what was I doing ever? Like, I'm embarrassed actually that I put up with that for so long, or that I wanted to continue to be with somebody that would do that to me, or that I, like, all the scenarios that you could possibly think of. Once you know your worth, it's just like, girl, cheers to growth, for real. Cheers to motherfucking growth. Okay, so this video has it hasn't been too long. You know, I didn't want to go over 30 minutes for sure, because that's just excessive. It's really, I feel like I didn't say everything I needed to say for the most part. So, but the last thing I wanted to say about this topic is just some tips of things that you could do while you're single to, I guess, make being single less boring or excruciating or stale, whatever you want to call it. These are just things that helped me, that may help you in just enjoying your singleness and really helping you get back into the groove of things. Because one thing that I feel like personally is, after a breakup, like I said, after you go through the little ugly crying phase and you just want to stay at home and watch movies and stuff, for me, I feel like I always get better after a relationship. But I also feel like it's because I make sure I take care of myself. And I'm also like extra gentle with myself at that time, because I know I'm vulnerable and something has just happened. So, but I think that because of me, you know, taking those steps to do these things when I'm single and not just letting it fester and just sulking about it, I feel like it has really helped me just be able to bounce back from anything. Because there was times in the past when, like I said, the first breakups where you just feel like you'll never get over it. Like you're just gonna be sad for the rest of your life. Oh my gosh. But I'm telling y'all, I'm here to tell y'all that it does get better. And I feel like if you just take little steps to basically live your life for you, you'll be able to get over it and you'll be able to come out a better person after that. Like I said, I'm gonna give y'all my tips on things you can do while you're single, just to spice it up, you know, switch it up, just have some fun. So the first thing I put is take yourself out. That's pretty self-explanatory, but also, like, you don't even always have to go out with friends. One thing that I've recently started trying to do is just going out. Things that I would usually do with other people, trying to do it by myself and seeing how it makes me feel. Like going out to eat, going to the movies, going shopping by myself, going to have a drink by myself at the bar, going to have a picnic outside and read. Like just little things to take your mind off of the fact that you're single. Because if you're just sitting in the house all the time, you know, it's hard to just not, let me go see what the fuck. And you don't want to do that, you know. So I think it's so important to just get out and do stuff. Whether that be, like I said, just go outside to the backyard. It don't have to be nothing extravagant, but basically doing everything that you would want to do if you were in a relationship by yourself. Because you really don't have to be in a relationship to do half of the things that we be wanting to do. Like if you want to go to the freaking, I can't even think of nothing. If you want to go to the freaking arcade, take yourself to the arcade. Take yourself on a date. If you wish you just had a boo that would take you to get your nails done, take yourself to get your nails done. Take yourself out on a date to eat. Like I love to eat, so I feel like that's just my favorite one. I didn't want to say it though because it's the most basic one, but you'll never get tired of taking yourself out to eat. So, but like I said, just do all the things that you want to do anyways, and I feel like over time you'll start getting used to just making those more consistent habits in your lifestyle. Get cute for no reason. Like this one's one of my favorites too, because you know, obviously, like, I mean, like, no. But for real, y'all, like I literally don't have nothing to do today, but well, I do have something to do today, but it's not like super serious. Like I have to go somewhere. It's just a few errands I have to run, but it just feels good to get cute sometimes. Like I used to always, this is when even when I was in high school, I used to do this like all the time, because I just love to get cute, do my makeup, and just make Snapchat videos. No reason. I mean, some people feel like it's pointless, but for me, I feel like it's one, fun, and who doesn't want to look at themselves? Two, you can, you know, practice poses, just practice feeling confident, dance around naked if you struggle with body image issues. Like literally just get cute, feel yourself. That's definitely gonna help you feel better. Self-care routines. that one brings me into this one. Basically, just make sure you're always taking care of yourself. As I was saying, it doesn't even have to be like going to therapy and stuff. It could just be little things like making sure you're journaling every day, or at least once a week, because I know it's hard to journal every day, or meditating in the mornings, or doing yoga when you wake up, or just simply reading in the mornings when you wake up. Like doing something to calm your mind and take care of your mind before you just hop on social media, where you can easily get triggered because there's going to be a million different opinions every day. Just doing little things like I said, taking yourself out to get your nails done like every 2 weeks, or making it a routine. I have a cousin, she celebrates her half birthday. I feel like that's so cool because people always put so much emphasis on their birthday, but your half birthday is live too. Like, I want to take myself on a trip for my half birthday. I don't even know when my half birthday is, but y'all get the gist. If you take a lot of showers, take a bath sometimes, and really sit down and just chill, like the baths you see in the movies where they got the candles. Okay, maybe not the candles all on the thing, because, you know, don't try that at home unless it's safe, because you could easily, that could easily be a hazard. Just doing little things to incorporate self-care into your routine can definitely make you feel good about yourself, and not being so caught up on the fact that you're single, because I feel like when you look good, you feel good. But like I said, it don't even have to just be physical, but especially doing things to, like, I got my first facial for my birthday, and now I want to get a facial all the time because they just feel so relaxing. Like my mom, she does massages. Sometimes I'll be like, Mama, I need to get a massage because I just need a massage. Like, I want to relax. Just doing little things to take care of you, for real. Do something you love or are passionate about. This is one of my favorite tips because I feel like there's not a lot of emphasis on it all the time, because a lot of us are just conditioned to just, like I said, I'm always on the go, so I feel like a lot of us just live on autopilot, but we forget to do the things that we really enjoy doing. So make it a priority to do a hobby that you're passionate about every week. If you got a business plan that you've been working on, every week just dedicate, you know, one goal to accomplish and work towards that goal in baby steps. Or if you, like, I rap, so some days I'm dedicating today to writing music. I don't want to be bothered today, like I just want to write music and that's it. Or if you like to draw, or you're an artist, you like to paint, like whatever you like to do, just whatever you're passionate about. Even YouTube, like this for me is, even though it's work kinda, this is like leisure activity for me to just be sitting here talking to y'all, basically getting cute and just chatting it up. Do something that makes you feel good, and I feel like that's also a good way to distract yourself, because sometimes when you're in a relationship, y'all just become so enmeshed into each other that it's easy to like lose sight of your interest and things you actually enjoy doing, because you're not so caught up in what they want to do, which is nothing wrong with it, because like I said, when you're in a relationship, you're just so into those emotions. But when you're single, you'll see, like I remember when I got single again recently, I was like, wow, like now I have so much time to like do what I want to do. Like I don't have to schedule a FaceTime appointment. Like I don't have to wake up and make sure I call him, or like I don't have to, you know, you'll just have more time to dedicate to yourself. I think I already mentioned journaling, but I think that journaling is really helpful because you can be able to look back on your journal entries. I have an app that I love to use because it's just like my favorite app, but I feel like it's nice to be able to look at your growth and see like the phases of emotions that you went through, and just to see how you were processing it then and how you've grown since then. Because I don't know about y'all, but I have journal entries at every mood. Like sometimes if I'm in the height of a mood, before I do something that I might regret, I just pick up my phone and like I'll rant, get it all out, and be like, okay, I feel better. But when I go back and read those, and then I read some of my journal entries that are more recent, where I'm like, you know, honestly. However, just basically more calm about situations. I feel like you'll really feel good, and you'll know that your growth has not been in vain, and like this time that you spent by yourself has not been in vain, because you've actually been working on yourself, and you actually have been processing what has happened and taking the steps to be better and do better. I said that reflecting on past situations, read. I feel like it's so important to just reflect. I feel like that's self-explanatory, but it's so important to just reflect. Like, I mean, everybody could do what they want to do. Like, cause for me, like, I'll block somebody now. I'm sorry, I'll block somebody, but I feel like it's not okay to just block somebody and also just never think about it again, I guess. Like, I feel like you have to at some point unpack the situation, whether you put it on paper or not, or just have a conversation in your head, because I feel like everybody can talk to themselves. Like, you have to process what went on though, so you can see what happened, like, and you can understand your emotions. And I also feel like it can help you validate your emotions and help you know that you're not crazy, basically, or that help you maybe see something else in a new light or in a new perspective. That's why I feel like it's just important to reflect, because looking back, you'll be glad that you reflected on the situation, because if you don't, I feel like you never really learned the lesson. And y'all know what happens when you never really learn the lesson. That bitch just keep spinning the block on her ass. Just read. I love to read. I know a lot of people don't really read anymore, but I love to read, especially self-help books though, and poetry. And I'm trying to get back into fiction. I'm trying to get back into fiction, because I used to be able to knock out a whole damn fantasy world dreamland book in a day. Like, I used to just love fiction stories in general, but I feel like now that I'm older, I don't know, that's a whole nother topic, but it's kind of harder for me to not read about real life things. But I'm trying to get back into it, because I feel like that's kind of a way to tap into your inner child, which is a tip that I didn't say, but it kind of goes into doing something you love, like tapping into your inner child and just nurturing them. Because a lot of the times, I think the issues that we face and go through in relationships sometimes have to do with the situations that we face as a child, or just traumas and triggers that we still haven't unpacked from our childhood. So that's a whole nother topic, y'all. The next tip is blast music, y'all. Like, this is one of my favorite tips too. I feel like I said that about every tip, but this one for sure is one of my favorite tips, because I love music, and there's no better feeling than, especially when you're in your own place, like just whether you in your robe naked, like I said, and just dancing around your room. If you like to twerk, practice your twerk skills, like just jamming and vibing out is a good way to just blow off some steam and just get in touch with yourself. It kind of goes back into the last tip when I was saying tapping into your inner child. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I used to have whole performances in my room when I was a kid. So sometimes I just like to just dance like no one's watching, and that would really help me like clear my head too. Like, if I'm thinking about something too hard, or if I'm just feeling like my thoughts are getting a little too intrusive, let me just jam it out, bitch. Jam it out. Jam it out, bitch, jam it out. It'll let that. I'll make a song out of anything, y'all, for real. But okay, and my last tip, which is basically what I said earlier, but I wanted to give it its own place, because it's really the most important tip, to treat yourself. Like, and treating yourself can be used in so many different scenarios, in so many different ways. But as I said earlier, it could be as simple as taking yourself out to eat, just deciding you're gonna have a weekend where you don't want to talk to nobody, and you just want to get some work done, or you just want to binge watch Love Island, or whatever you like to do. That could be treating yourself. Find yourself something nice, like something that you will want to get as a gift, because that's the thing. I feel like I used to have things that I would think that, oh, I would never buy that for myself. Like, that's something somebody else is supposed to get you, like flowers. But you can definitely buy yourself flowers. I think I might buy myself some flowers today, actually, because it's been a minute. But you can buy yourself flowers, like just all of the things that you would want somebody else to do. Just do it to yourself. Treat yourself. Like, that's the best way to get over that hump, I feel like. Because once you start really pouring into yourself, you really, over time, like one day you'll wake up and you won't even really be fazed about being single no more, because you just got so much stuff going on that you don't have time to be thinking about it. Like, whenever it comes, it comes. And I feel like that's the state of mind that, you know, they say you're supposed to be in when a relationship comes in. So by that point, you never know what could happen. But I feel like being caught up on being single basically is what not to do when you're single. So if I had a list on what not to do, that would probably be the only thing on there. But okay, y'all, that is all that I have for y'all today. I think that I pretty much covered every base that I wanted to hit, but I don't know about y'all, but I really enjoyed doing this video, and I already have some more ideas for the future. So like I said, if you have any suggestions on any topics that you would like to hear me chat about, comment below. Or I also was thinking about maybe just getting a jar and putting some of the topics that I already have, and just over time collecting the topics that y'all say, and maybe pulling a topic every video so it can feel more random. I don't know, I'm still kind of brainstorming how I want to do it, but let me know in the comments what y'all want to see. Also, I did not smoke in this video because I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do it exactly. I'm actually thinking about doing it outside, because I feel like that would just be a vibe. I know people hate the word vibe, but I feel like that would just be so peaceful, and I like being outside around sunset. So I'm still trying to figure it out, but because I don't know how I would plug up my light, and but then again, you don't really necessarily need a light outside if the sun is bright. But it's just a lot of stipulations I got to figure out with that. So I had my smoke before, but you know, as always, like I said in the beginning of the video, feel free to spark up as soon as I start talking about whatever we're gonna be talking about, and you know, make it do what it do. But as I said, that is all that I have for you guys today. I will be back next Sunday with another topic. So like I said, y'all let me know if y'all got anything y'all want to hear me talk about, and I will see y'all next time.